Okay, so we've installed the first 2 rows on this side of the roof, and now we're going to mark out the holes for the next pair of rows, and then we're going to install the seals and the mountings as we go along. So we're going to do a pair of 3s basically. So we've already pre-marked the line here, picked up from the one below. As you install these, you can feel how central this mount is to the rafter. So if it's slightly off, you can adjust it and bring the mark up to the next one just to correct any inaccuracies in the straightness of the rafter. So we've done that here before we put the plank on, and we're just going to use the square here now just to give us a line. Its markings here. There we are. And then we're going to measure on trusty tape from the centre of this bolt, and for this one we're going 800 millimeters. So it's quite important here to make sure that you only drill in your drill zone, and that is from the bottom edge of this tile to a distance which is in the instructions down here. It's around 70 millimeters. Anything below and you risk falling into the batten or start drilling into the batten, which you don't want. You want to drill into the clear area underneath the tile. So 800 is actually sitting us right on this edge, so that's a little bit too high, so we're going to drop down at 750. That will land us right in the middle of the drill zone. So use this square here off the edge of the tiles. It usually covers about 3 tiles, so you can guarantee you're relatively square. So it's actually already right in the middle of the line I marked, which is quite lucky. So we'll just mark it here, bring the marking across, and we've got our crosshairs for drilling. We're going to do 3 markings and then 3 drills. Just makes it all a bit quicker. It was 800, wasn't it, Tom?
800, yeah.
Yeah.
But where are your mounting zones?
So I've come down to 750. I've come down a bit. Okay, so we don't need this now because I've already pre-marked these, and it's out of luck they're actually in the right area. So we don't need to do the verticals anymore. So I'm going to just do the horizontal markings at 750 millimeters. It's worth drawing quite big crosshairs, because when you're using the hole saw, it makes it easier to make sure you're central. You can see the crosshairs coming out either side of the hole saw. The diamond hole saws don't have a drill bit in the middle. There we are. Final one. It's not completely critical, this dimension here, because there's some adjustment on the plates when you attach these to the bolts. So get it as accurate as you can, but if you're a couple mil out, it's not crucial. So we've got the 28mm diamond drill bit. These cut quite nicely. You don't have to apply a lot of pressure. As some of the other videos you've seen, you start off at an angle, and once you get the edge in, then you bring it up. That stops the hole saw going all crazy. So get your crosshairs lined up, get the edge in, and then slowly bring it to the upright position. And once it's in a little bit, you can start moving it around. That helps let the dust out. Keep going nice and gently. Not too much pressure, and there we go through. It's important not to push too much at the end because it can damage your membrane underneath. So the diamond bit's quite forgiving. You can touch, it doesn't go straight through like a tooth blade would, but that you can check that it's nice and central. That is slightly more to the right than it is to the left. So next time we'll mark this, and the next hole up we'll drill slightly more to the left. Not that there. Okay. It's important to get rid of this dust, and you can hoover it, but we'll just give it a blow. Be aware that you make sure that your roof tiles are not asbestos or have any dangerous additives in them. So these are just standard composites. Third hole now, the second hole. Perfectly in the middle. Also remember the plugs end up building up in here, so just make sure you get those out so they don't cause any problems. If they get full, then you won't be able to drill through your slate. It's a bit fiddly. There we go. Mark up for the next holes. This one is actually pretty good. Slightly, it needs to go to the right slightly. So I'm going to mark that 10 millimeters to the right. Okay, next one. Quite close to the left, this one, so I'm going to bring it a fair bit to the left. Sorry, it's a bit too close to the right, so I'm bringing it to the left. Okay. So next we're going to put the 7mm drill bit in and use our drill guide to make sure that we're drilling centrally. It's a standard solve drill guide. It comes in the kits, one with every kit. So I'll start on this one over here. So we're putting the drill guide in, we're keeping it nice and square, make sure it's central. Drill goes in. And then you can finish the hole. It'll automatically follow the previously drilled hole. Just get the full depth. Then we have it. The same for each three. Finish this one to full depth. There we are. Okay, now we're going to install our bolts. Just using a standard impact driver with it's a 7mm, it's okay. What size is that? Don't know. You can cut that bit out, hopefully. And we're just going in, so the coarse thread is into the rafter. The blind shank is still out. It's easy enough to see inside. Okay, now we're going to get the seals. And these stainless steel collars push onto the seals. And they push so they're just slightly higher than the bottom, about 1mm. If they're flush, it doesn't matter, but as long as they're flat with the bottom, that's all you need. So just push these onto the top of the hanger bolts. And just squeeze it down to reach the bottom. Do another two. One. And one more. These have got Vaseline on them too. Help them to compress without squashing the tile. So you might need to just wipe your hands afterwards. Make sure the collar's at the bottom. Push it down all the way to the bottom there. Now we have the M10 nylock nuts. It's important to make sure there's a nylock on here. Just make sure that the seal remains in place over the years. And we also need these caps. They just slide over the top. Just screw a nut on by hand, lightly. The nylocks won't screw right down by hand. You'll need either ratchet or a spanner or impact gun. One more of these. And we just use a 17mm deep socket to do these up. You just slow down towards the bottom in between sort of 3 and 5mm. It's just important that it starts to bulge a lot on the top, that you don't drive it right down. So the bulge shouldn't come outside the diameter of the silver portion, so I'm going to back that off just slightly. That's perfect. The seal's expanded, filled the gap and formed a small bulge on top. So we'll go the same for the other two. Pause sometimes, let the seal settle. There we are. Perfect. And there you have it. Perfect. See, that's slightly too tight, so I'll back it off a little bit just so the diameter of the seal is the same or less than the silver portion. Okay, now we're ready to move on to the next set. So as you can see, we've installed 3 mounts in about 15 minutes without any real special tools. And just imagine how quickly you can do a full installation on your own, taking your time. Lovely sunny afternoon, no problem.